Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, welcome to the kitchen side of construction. Today we're going to be installing a set of sling swivels onto my BSA air rifle. It doesn't have any swivels on it, no way to mount a bipod, no way to mount a sling other than tying a piece of string around it. So let's get to it. First of all, you're going to need an actual set of sling swivels. Some drill bits. A small one to drill a pilot hole, give you more control while you're drilling the pilot hole. A larger one, which is the same size as the shaft on the sling swivels, but not the thread. We're also going to need a trusty battery drill, a screwdriver, and an Allen key. Clearly, of course, we'll need the main ingredient, the air rifle itself, which is checked and cleared. First of all, we're going to remove the firing mechanism, the actual rifle, out of the stock, because if you look in here you can't really see particularly well how deep the wood is, so I need to try and work my way back down. I might have to mount the front one here, which is a bit of a pain, but as you can see that wood there isn't very thick, so I wouldn't want to screw to that, so we'll try and come back a bit and get some heavier duty wood. So let's get this firing mechanism out. Right, there you go. So for those of you that have never seen, this is the action of an air rifle. Put that off to the side. Now, as I said, what we've got to try and do is work our way up here to the thickest point, which looks like literally about 2 inches in. So if I was to go in there, that'll be a good start. Turns out clamping it's actually really easy. Now what I want to do is try and run a centre line along here, so I get the back swivel mount and the front swivel mount in the same axis along the centre. There you are. So we've got a piece of string at the back held on with a wee bit of duct tape, and we can pull this other piece of string down to the front, and that will give us a relatively accurate centre line, a lot better than our eyes are going to do anyway, and a pencil to mark it with. So we'll try and get this zoomed in on the top one, the back one, so you can see what I'm doing. Clearly, because this is a wax finish, wax and oil finish, I'm not going to use a Sharpie or anything like that. I shall put a very thin line with a pencil, just really lightly, each side of the string. And then once that's done, put a cross swipe in it. So now you can see exactly where our hole's got to be drilled there. That's that one done. Now we do the same with the front one. This is much easier to eyeball. And then go back to about here. Once again, simple little tiny cross. That can be wiped off with just a wet rag. And we have both holes drilled. We can remove our plumb line. This is just crappy garden string, so it's thrown in the bin when it's been used. And we prepare for drilling, which is always the scariest part of any project like this. And that's why I'm using a very small drill to start with. It's like a 1mm. And that's a bit wobbly, so I think I'm going to put another clamp on there. I'll be back in a second. There we go, 2 clamps on there. It's a lot more sturdy now. Now clearly, you've got to be very accurate when you drill. We want to drill in at a similar angle to this line at the edge of the rubber on the stock. Don't be afraid to hold the drill bit. Don't be afraid to pull and push on the drill bit either until you get it started. And always remember to clear the swarf out as well. You'll feel the drill bind up. Right, that's gone in so far as to hit one of the butt screws. And then we'll do the same at this end. So you apply a little tiny bit of pressure, start it turning slowly, and then once you've actually bitten, away you go. And try not to drill through into the sideboard. Here's my 2 pilot holes. These are the final holes. These are the ones you've really got to be careful with because it's a much bigger drill bit. And then the one last thing we do need is a piece of really fine sandpaper. This is 1500, just to get those holes a buff over. Or if this was, if these holes were going to remain visible, I'd get an even bigger drill bit and just touch the drill in there to give them a bit of a chamfer, or obviously use a chamfer tool if you've got one, but a larger drill bit is generally quite good for a chamfer. Now we're ready to insert our screws. So we've got 2 screws, a short one and a long one. The short one is going to go in the back because we've got a steel screw holding this butt rubber on. And I just need to make sure that the drill bit is about the right size. I already checked it, but I really don't want to screw these in. So what you can see is this drill bit is just about the same width as the shaft, not including the thread. It will split the wood if you don't get the hole the right size. It will split the wood. So we've got to do this very carefully. Start it off by hand. And then we'll grab our Allen key. No, I think that hole needs to be just a tiny bit bigger than that. Just a tiny bit. You're always better off making the hole just a tiny bit too big because you can obviously apply glue. So let's try that again. Yeah, that feels better. And providing you've got your hole drilled straight, it doesn't matter if this starts off crooked because as you drive down into the hole, it will straighten out. And you have to do this very carefully, using their ears the whole time, because if you hear the wood starting to split, you have to back off and make the hole a bit bigger. There we go, one in. You can see it's actually protruding through a bit. So we'll clamp it back down, wind it back out, and we'll chop a couple of turns of thread off the end of it and then put it back in again. There we are, one sawn off screw. And clearly it'll go much easier the second time because it's already got a thread tapped into it. And there we go. You can see now that that's actually flat. It's not sticking up anymore. So the scoped action should slide in there quite nicely. So we'll clear up all these tools and swing you back around the other way. So now let's check the functioning. Seems to be working fine. I have two slings to choose from. We've got an airsoft sling. I've got all the attachments to convert the normal ones into ones that will sit on there properly, but it's got plastic, all of the buckles are plastic. This is metal, but the rest of this is plastic, and this is England, and it gets cold over in England. Not freezing cold, but sometimes it can get nasty cold, and I don't trust plastic nylon in the cold at all, so I won't be putting that one on there. Then I've got this handsome little chappy that is handmade, brass fittings, and came from eBay, and I'll add the link to the bottom of the video for where I got this from. They're really cheap. I swear this was 15 quid, 20 quid, something like that, and it's handmade leather, brass fittings. You don't get these with it, but hey, for that kind of money you can't really go wrong, can you? So we can attach this on now, but I'll be honest with you, I don't really need to because I don't use it for hunting. When I eventually manage to get myself permission, hopefully by the end of this year, I will start probably with an air rifle, and then I'll actually have to attach that. The reason I want this on there now, I'll show you. Here's a Harris bipod. I have, in all honesty, only ever fired this air rifle from my shoulder, standing or resting on God knows what, prone. 99% of what I've shot has been freestanding, and I wanted to see, as you well know, freestanding, it's very hard to tell how accurate something is because there's all of your wobbling and shaking going into it. Having a bipod on the rifle is going to give me the ability to actually fully test the accuracy potential of this particular air rifle. I've had this air rifle for such a long time, I really can't remember. It's definitely at least 15 years, it might even be 20. It's never let me down. It has caught me a few meals in the past. One of my brothers used to run a farm, or manage a farm, so I used to get to go hunting whenever I wanted. I didn't take as much advantage of that as I should have done. But I'll switch the camera off and give you a couple of close-ups. And thanks for taking the time to watch. It's only a quick one this time, hopefully, and I'll see you on the next one.